is dismissed when a woman does it, which is weird because more often than not, in domestic violence cases, the man goes to jail. Doesn't matter if he starts it or not. If he participates in throwing licks, he goes to jail. She doesn't go to jail more often than not. If they both go to jail, he goes to jail. But she's not going to jail by herself if he punched her in the face. He's going to jail for hitting her. But if she hits him, most men don't call the police. Most men do not report abuse in their relationships. So the statistics are skewed because statistically, it shows that more men are arrested for domestic violence than women, but women are more violent than men. The difference is that a woman can throw a drink on a man, slap a man in the face, hit him with her purse, throw things at him, and the man is supposed to duck and dodge these things and take these licks, and society would say he pissed her off. But in that exact same society, if the man were to do the exact same actions that a woman does, he's violent and abusive. So when we start talking about today's dynamics, yes, I'm coming from the male's perspective because we have to understand that as men, we cannot allow this negative behavior to occur, whether we're performing the behavior or we're experiencing the behavior. So making sure that, ladies, if y'all follow the channel today, like and subscribe. You don't have to agree with everything that I'm saying. You can definitely chime in and voice your opinion. But when it is different when women do it than what it does when men do it. Michael says a toxic woman will kill you without blinking an eye. Bro, first of all, Mike, you and I both know that women are telling each other since the Medea series came out, since Usher and R. Kelly and them came out with confessions, talking about some don't fight them, don't fight them. Go in the kitchen and go make some hot grits with extra butter, and then while he sleep, throw it on his face, then beat his ass. That's what women is talking about doing. Hit him with a skillet. That'll cause him a concussion if you don't kill him. Hitting them with a skillet is equivalent to hitting them with a shovel, But this is how women behave. This isn't about talk. This isn't about bashing women today. But I'm talking about this is the environment that is acceptable if done by women, but not acceptable if done by men. I am telling you universally, the behavior is incorrect. It should not be done by either side. So as we continue, ladies, y'all pay attention, because when we start talking about this stuff, y'all can see signs of controlling behavior in your partner, what you can do to avoid it or reduce it. And fellas, if you did not know that this behavior was being done by your partner was more controlling than affectionate, you can rectify that as well. Now, for many men, I want y'all to understand this, that this is a confusing and isolating experience, because we're often taught to see jealousy as passion and protectiveness and as a sign of deep love from the woman. Now, the line gets blurry because you start to question your own judgment, and that's a problem. You're never supposed to question your own judgment. Women say women's intuition, follow your first mind. Fellas, follow your gut. Never doubt yourself when these situations occur. But as you wonder, am I being unreasonable? Am I being too sensitive? You might even start to believe you're the problem. If you're feeling that nagging sense of unease, that feeling you're walking on eggshells, that you're slowly losing pieces of yourself just to keep the peace, then you are in the right place. Because today on today's show, we're going to be breaking down the 10 subtle signs that what you're experiencing isn't love, but a profound form of disrespect. And we're going to show how these everyday behaviors can masquerade as care before they have a chance to escalate into something much more serious. And most importantly, we're going to validate what your gut has probably been telling you all along, that you're not crazy and you're not alone. Michael says, my dad has a word for that, and he called it P-whipped. Yes, sir, it is. They also say that's when they got your nose wide open or you're wrapped around her finger. I agree with you on that one. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This generation is calling them simps. Either way, it's a man that has lost his masculinity. It is a man that has lost his own confidence in himself. It is a man that has lost his own drive. And that man now is under the authority of the woman that dictates his relationship. And in an egalitarian society, or at least we try to pretend like we're in an egalitarian society, there's never supposed to be a situation where the traditional masculine man is supposed to be in a submissive position to a monarchy that is controlled by the woman. Women are going to disagree with that and say, well, why not? Well, because if you don't want to be controlled by your man, why are you controlling your man? If you don't want to be told what to do by your man, why are you telling him what to do? The way you want to be treated in your relationship is how you're supposed to treat your partner. So if you have the full authority as his girlfriend or his wife to boss him around, then that means that he has the full authority to boss you around. And as you expect him to do what you say at the drop of a hat, you should do what he says unconditionally at the drop of a hat. That is mutual respect across the board. Make sure y'all like and subscribe as y'all come through here. And utilize those reaction buttons. They should be over on the left side of the screen. Or am I pointing on the right direction? Actually, I think they're on the other left side of the screen. But make sure that y'all tackle those reaction buttons, because a lot more people will be able to see this once they've been once the algorithm wakes up, because we have been brought out of the dark ages over the past week and a half, and we're now getting seen internationally. So special shout out to India and Bolivia and Istanbul and a couple of other countries that are starting to watch us a whole lot more than America. Want to give you guys a shout out real quick. Michael said, you'll never find me in that situation. Weak mind, weak person. Well, you got to understand, they call them strong-willed individuals. They call them headstrong individuals. But really what it is that they're stubborn, and you call them hard-headed, but they're stubborn and they're disobedient. Meaning that strong-willed people are not going to be easily convinced to perform, regardless of what you're asking them to perform. Now, I personally am not asking or telling anyone to control or be controlled by anyone. What I am asking and telling people to do is that what your most effective way is to make it make sense to them. When you're asking them to do something, if they're going to do it in the moment, for example, I don't got time to explain, let's get this done. After it has been resolved, after whatever the situation has been resolved, you guys have an era of peace, you guys got some downtime. It is your responsibility to take the time to explain to your partner why you asked them to do what you asked them to do in the moment, so that you guys can get it done. So that next time in the future, if it is asked of them to participate in the same factor, you shouldn't even have to ask them. They know why they're being called on, and they will dive in because they know where their place is in that particular activity. It goes both ways with men and women. If you know that your partner is going up 3 flights of stairs with groceries, they should not ask you to help them carry groceries. If there's more groceries downstairs, you not carrying the groceries should be able to ask them with the first load that they come up the stairs with, is there more? Yes. And then go downstairs and go get the groceries, because you know that helping your partner is what you're supposed to do in that situation if you didn't go to the grocery store with them. So watching them make 2 or 3 trips to the car, that is not what a supportive partner would do. A supportive partner would see them come in with a handful of stuff. Is there more? And then go out there and go get it. See what I'm saying? So this is a huge dynamic that a lot of relationships, they don't pay attention to. And then some of the relationships have the females get upset because the men are inconsiderate and they don't pay attention. And then a lot of times the men get upset because women just don't want to do certain things because they feel like they shouldn't have to. It's a man's job. Either way, I have said plenty of times that women are selfish and men are inconsiderate. So men instinctively do things that they think should get done, but if they didn't think about that, they're not going to do it. And women usually only do what benefits them unless they are inherently functioning for the satisfaction of their partner. Now, in modern 2025, you're less likely to find a woman over the age of 25 that's main goal is to make her husband or boyfriend happy. Their main goal is to succeed for themselves in their life. And if they end up in a relationship, their main goal is to be in the kind of relationship where their boyfriend or husband is promoting her life, which again is selfish. Her design is not to find a partner that she can grow with. Her design is to find a partner that will help her grow. That's not the same. Finding somebody that helps you grow means that you will improve in your life. They will not. Finding a partner that you can grow with, you both will improve together. That's a big difference. Men find a partner that they can grow with. Women find a partner that can help her grow. Now, ladies, if y'all disagree, make sure that you put your 2 cents into the comment section. We can talk about that. Now, the first signs of controlling relationships is isolation, but it's almost never starts with a direct command like you can't see your friends anymore. That would be too obvious, too easy to reject. Instead, it begins with the slow poisoning of the other important relationships in your life, all under the guise of deep, unparalleled devotion to you. It starts with subtle comments, little seeds of doubt planted in your mind. After you hang out with your best friend, she might say something like, I just don't think he has your best interest at heart. He seems so negative. I worry he's a bad influence on you. Or after a family dinner, it's your mom is so critical of you. I can see how much it hurts. I just want to protect you from that. These statements are framed as concerns. The position is that if you're in this specific location of a protector where your partner, she's telling you herself that she's trying to protect you from the things that would hurt you, the one person who truly gets you and wants the best for you turns out to be ideally her in that particular perspective, but that doesn't always become the case. Michael says, can I play that role? That's a good point. A man is supposed to be able to tell you when he doesn't think that something's working out in your favor. But a man, if you choose the right man, is supposed to be capable of telling you or deciding what is in your best interest, because you're supposed to be finding a guy that works for your best interest. Men do not necessarily always find a woman that works for his best interest because, as I've said plenty of times before, a man spends so much time trying to impress a woman to get a woman to stay that he does not put forth the effort to find out if she's working towards his agenda until after she has stayed long enough for him to determine she's not working for his agenda. But now that he's invested, now he's trying to mitigate loss and trying to see if he can fix this situation by modifying her behavior patterns, which does not always work. Special shout out to Rickshaw. Rickshaw says most women dislike their mother-in-laws and most moms dislike their daughter-in-laws from my experience. Women do not like each other. When it's a competition for your approval, your affections, your trust, mom might know better because mom might have behaved that way, believe it or not. Mom might know she's not a good influence on you. However, girlfriend or wife might know that mom is overbearing and overprotective and not allowing you to grow up and be the man that you should be. The funny thing is, both women could be right. Both women could ideally be right. You could be getting the perfect advice from both women at the same time. But mom is telling you, get rid of the girl, and the girl is telling you to separate yourself from your mom. You can't do both. It forces you to choose. Some men that are called mama's boys choose mom over the girl, and other men choose girl over the mom. When the girl lets the man down, mom forgives him. And when the girl is gone, the guy blames mom for pushing the girl away. Never works out. Michael says, I'm 5'2" and she's 6'8". Yes, dear. Special shout out to Carl. Carl's been away for a while looking after family. I appreciate you taking the time to come back, Carl. It's good to see you again. My prayers have gone out to the family. I hope I do believe it was a surgery with your brother is doing okay. He said the devil attacks your mind to destroy your relationships. And if you don't have a solid foundation in Christ, your relationship will sink eventually like the Titanic. He is right. If you are not paying attention to what's going on around you, you will come to find that your relationships will not last the way you want them to. The little leaks that happen here and there that you ignore ends up turning into a flood, and that flood ends up sinking your ship. And before you know it, you don't even have enough time to bail out. Which is where we were going next, because over time, this type of behavior creates a story where she's in the safe harbor and everyone else that you know, your friends, your family, your colleagues, is potential threats to your success. And the logic is seductive. She's not attacking them at all. She's just worried about you. This is a classic manipulation tactic. By suggesting that others are bad influences, she makes you feel that pulling away from them is your own idea, which is a smart step to protect your relationship. Carl says, sorry, my dad was touch and go. I was living in the hospital and my brother-in-law is better. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. My father made it to about 70 years old right now. He is taking a nap. So stick with your dad as long as you can. Enjoy those moments. One of the things that people have regrets on when family members pass is not taking advantage of all the time that they had with those people. And that's what hurts the most, is regretting the fact that you did not invest more effort in communicating with those people. So spend as much time as you got, because time is one of the only resources that cannot be renewed or replaced. And it is very valuable time. And if you ever have the opportunity, you can always play this in the background while you're waiting. Michael says, you don't have friends anymore. That's true, because you give everything up for your girl. They don't want to come around and do anything with you because they don't like that girl. Even your friends make you choose. Michael says, 70. Let's climb a mountain. Thanks, my brother. Love you, man. Hey, always have the best interest of you guys in mind when I'm doing this podcast, and I really appreciate knowing that everything is going okay, considering the circumstances the best that they could go. I appreciate you having the opportunities to dive in when you do dive in. You guys make sure that y'all utilize those reaction buttons. I do believe they're on this side of the screen. Yeah, they're on this side of the screen over here. So utilize those reaction buttons and try to show support to the channel. Michael says, the worst thing is I invented time. Your social security number is 1. Is it 000001? I'm interested because that they rolled over the social security numbers. So they ran out of the 360 something thousand individuals with that 9-digit social security number. I am more than positive they are recycling social security numbers by now. Is it followed by mankind? Even I make mistakes. That is true. That is true. Next, it becomes harder and harder to actually spend time with other friends, as Michael was talking about. Plans with your friends might be met with a sudden illness, a manufactured crisis, or an emotional breakdown that means you have to stay home and comfort your girl. She might say, I was really looking forward to our night together. I've been feeling so down and I just need you. Can't you see your friends another time, and another time never comes? This is a powerful guilt trip. It frames your need for a social life as a personal rejection of her. You're forced into a position where choosing your friends means hurting her. So to keep the peace, you cancel. And if you don't, you regret it again and again and again. Eventually, your friends stop calling, figuring you're not interested. The isolation becomes self-fulfilling prophecies, and you end up in a situation where all you got is her. Michael says, playing God, let me ramble. She's crazy. It sounds like it. See, if I was explaining this to women from a man's perspective, you would have 150 women on the channel right now talking about how that type of guy ain't worth squat. They're hearing more when we're talking about money, but when we start talking about toxic women, women don't want to hear that. He said, where's that pillow? Actually, if OJ would have used a pillow, he wouldn't have had to drive that Bronco so fast. Now, a healthy, supportive partner gets that your relationship with friends and family are vital, and they enrich your life. And by extension, they enrich the life you share. So a supportive partner wants to know your friends. They celebrate your connections. They don't see your support system as competition. They see it as an asset. They encourage your independence because they're secure in your connection. You have to understand, like, if my girl says she's going by her family, you going by which family member? And the reason why I would ask this question, you think, oh, that question is controlling. No, it's not. Because I want to benefit from you going over there. You going by your mama house? Oh, she bake? I want her to bake me some cookies. You going by your auntie house? Oh, she cook? I want some roast beef. You going by your nana house over there on the other side, up the hill? She make that good Jamba Juice. I'll get me some drink before you go. You see what I'm saying? I am making a grocery list depending on who house you go by. You could be going by your brother's house and his wife know how to throw down in the kitchen. I'm trying to get you to tiptoe over there and bring me back some goodies. I might even give you some empty Tupperware in a bag. Have you take that with you? Not that they cook better than you, but they cook. So I want to eat. So you need to get over there and go get some food to feed me. Have fun. Grab her phone. You don't need her phone. Yeah, I love it too, Carl. I love it too. You don't need her phone. You got females that be like, oh, I want to track my boyfriend. I want to track my... Nah, you don't need to track your partner. Your man need to know where you at, so if you in trouble, he can come save you. If you don't want your man to come save you, then apparently he don't need to know where you at. You need to know where your man is at so that you can come and save him. If you don't plan on coming to save him, then you don't need to know where he at. Straight up. Your man will tell you where he at so that if he get in trouble, you can come and save him. And if you respect him, you're going to tell him where you at so that if you get in trouble, he can come and save you. That's what staying in contact is all about. It's not about being tracked by your partner. We do those GPS apps on our cell phones trying to figure out where they at and what they do. And if their cell phone location is not where we would prefer it to be, or not where they said it was going to be, we be, oh, why you went to such and such place, and where was you, and da 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 da. I thought you said X, Y, and Z. I don't give a fuck where you was when you was. All I care about is that you got back safe. That's all that matters. You still alive, and you could potentially make me something to eat. Take the dogs out for a walk and make me something to eat. I'm good. Carl said, automatically, the woman should already do that if they love you. And you know what's funny, Carl? Women don't know that, because last generation's single women are not teaching next generation's single women how to perform. Last generation single women are telling next generation single women to stay single, stay independent, don't respect or value their man, but find a man that will put up with that bullshit, take everything that he's got, and keep it pushing. And I disagree with that type of mentality. I strongly believe that you get out of the relationship what you put into it. So in a lot of these relationships, some of these people have the wrong intentions, and that's why the relationship goes south. Michael says she'll put a what you call on your car. Oh yeah, the GPS trackers, the Apple iTouch, whatever, the Apple AirTag thing. They be putting that tracker shit on your car, trying to stalk you. You have to have trust. That's right, and you are so right. Go overseas. Special shout out to Steven. Every Steven that jumps on the podcast got the right idea. Special shout out to Steven. Steven says go out of seas. If you go overseas, bro, Vietnam, Japan, Thailand, Taiwan, Philippines is number one. You'll go and find some that'll show you that love. They'll show you what's up. They'll whatever you want. They'll rub your feet, massage your back. They go get you some groceries and stuff like that, and hold you down. They'll build stuff for you, everything like that. You got these Western women that don't even want to. They put on fake nails that don't make them look no more attractive than what they did when it didn't have fake nails. Because not a nail man be looking at no female's hands outside of making sure she ain't got no wedding ring on it initially. Then, because they got them bullshit ass nails on, they can't be productive with their hands because they don't want to break a nail. Now their hands are just like commodities. They're like the hood ornament of a Bentley, but they're not actually a Bentley. They're carrying themselves like a Geo Metro, if y'all know what those are, and like a Ford POS. You know what I'm saying? And that is the worst part about it is. So if you go out there, Michael, get that village girl from overseas. Especially if you bring it to America, where her village might look like the back end of a crack house. You bring her to America, and some of the slums in America look like a palace to her. Now, I tell you what, you're going to have way less bullshit to deal with. Way less bullshit to deal with. Think about, and some people, oh, well, if you take care of her, you got to take care of her family. Well, if you sending $750 a month back home, and she doing whatever you want here, you got a girlfriend that costs you $750 a month from overseas, where an American woman costs you $750 a week. So it is still a profit, because you're renting the girl in the Western culture, transactional relationships, the same way you'd be renting the girl from overseas, transactional relationships. The only difference is you get more out of the Eastern culture women than what you do out of the Western culture women. That's the only difference. Your standard of living is more satisfactory to a woman from the Eastern side of the world than what it is from a woman over the West side of the world. That's the only difference. The women complain and like, oh yeah, you just broke, incel, blah 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 blah, and you're gonna groom this girl and you're gonna manipulate, control, blah 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 blah. Guys just want a partner that's gonna be there for the man and do what the man needs, so that the man can get out there and go and make that money. They want a partner that is going to value and respect the man's opinion and value and respect the man. That's not what we're getting from the Western culture. There's no intent to perform, and there's no expectation to respect, appreciate, validate. We have some women that are offended by saying the love and obey verse of the marriage vows. For the richer and for poorer part of the marriage vows, they be really upset about that part. Like they don't want to commit, but the man must commit his income regardless. Michael said $40 girl versus $750 girl. What's the go teeth? Oh, the $750 girls. Who's got teeth? Look, I don't know. These females right now, they crazy. Steven says we can always live over there. Oh, you can. Every Wednesday, I cover a different country that we can go and live at, and invest in. And a lot of those countries, you can live an upper middle class lifestyle, an American style lifestyle, under $2,000 to $3,000 a month. Your veterans benefits, your Social Security disability that is coming to you on a regular basis, you can just wire transfer that shit over to another country, and you can live like a king over there. If you get residency, or you get like a visa or something like that over there, like a permanent visa, especially if you marry a local, you automatically end up with dual citizenship in most countries, because very few countries require you to renounce your citizenship from your old country. So you would have dual citizenship, and your disability benefits will go to them. It is non-domestic income, so it's not taxable to them. So they're not going to tax you on your retirement funds that you're getting from America, which means you can live over there for free. You ain't got to pay no taxes. You ain't got to do shit. You just spend money over there. Just spend money. And they'll love that shit. And for $2,000 to $3,000 a month, that's an upper middle class lifestyle. And I say upper middle class because a middle class or lower class lifestyle will be like $800 to $1,000 a month. A middle class lifestyle would be between $1,000 to $1,500 a month. But when you start like housekeepers and chauffeurs and all this other stuff, you start looking at like $2,000 to $3,000 a month, depending on how much you're willing to spend extra. But you got everything you need. And if you've got the house big enough to have her and her family in there, you might have 2 or 3 wives in the house, taking turns cooking for you and stuff. Have a good night, Carl. I appreciate you diving in for the short time that you had accessible to us. Hopefully I'll see you again soon. Now, control, on the other hand, thrives in a vacuum. By systematically cutting you off, a controlling partner makes you entirely dependent on them for validation. So ladies, this is something that you can experience from men as well. You are expected to have validation and support just from this person, and your sense of reality revolves around the other person. This isn't devotion. It's a strategy. It's the deliberate dismantling of your support network so that she becomes the only voice you hear. Second, just checking in is surveillance dressed as safety. If a man is just checking in, women are like, he's controlling. Why? The second sign is constant monitoring of where you are, who you're with, and what you're doing, all cleverly packaged as simple, loving concern for your safety. And the difference between the genuine checking in, I haven't heard from you in over 10 hours, versus I haven't heard from you in the last 2. You know what I mean? Yeah, a lot of things can happen in 30 seconds, but if she really was concerned about what you were doing, she should have went with you, right? If she said she was going to be back by a certain time and she ain't back, and you like, hey, you said you was going to be back by 11, it's 12:30, are you okay? That's genuine concern. You said you was coming back at midnight and it's 10:30. Are you still coming back at the same time? That's controlling. I got to think about this now. In the beginning, it can feel incredibly flattering, especially when nobody gives a shit about men. So when somebody is a little bit over concerned about your whereabouts, you feel like they actually want you around. A text asking, did you get to work okay? Seems thoughtful. A call at the end of a night out asking, when will you be home? I just worry. can feel like a sign that she really cares. But there's a line in a controlling relationship. That line is crossed so gradually that you barely notice it. Right. Or she's calling you every 5 minutes, texting you every 15 minutes. You already know there's some bullshit about to go down, because instead of her throwing down the occasional text message or the occasional phone call, she starts hitting you with that FaceTime. She's trying to FaceTime you. Why don't you answer the phone? Pick up the video calls. I want to see what's going on over there. She heard a female in the background the last time she talked to you on the phone, so now she want a video call to see what you got going on. That's that controlling behavior that we're talking about right now. But it begins with the frequency. The occasional check-in, the text becomes a constant stream of messages. So many to the point where you can't even enjoy the time away from her, because you spend so much time communicating with her. And these questions of who are you with and what are you doing, if you don't reply within minutes, you're met with frantic follow-ups laced with anxiety or accusation. Why aren't you answering? I was so worried. Or who are you with that's more important than me? This puts you in a state of constant low-grade anxiety, where you feel a need to report your every move, not to share your day, but to prevent a conflict. This isn't what needs to happen. When we were growing up as kids, and this is those of us, look, that damn right, you turn the phone off. Because if your phone don't die from her communicating with you all the damn time, you turn your phone off so that she can start communicating with you. But when we was young, what we used to do is straight up. Those of us, we started driving around 10, 12, 13 years old. Our parents started legally allowing us to take the car 15, 16, 17 years old. At least my parents, but a lot of people can agree with me. Our parents used to night out, a few hours out. They would ask us if we were okay if we didn't check in. What checking in required was, before you left, you tell them where you were going and who you were potentially going with. This allows the person you're leaving at the house, mom, dad, auntie, grandma, whatever, to know the last group of people you were with before your ass came up missing, right? What kind of car you were driving, if there's a license plate that they can get, stuff to that effect, which allows, if something happens, first 48, they're going to want to ask these exact same questions. Who did they go with? Where were they headed? What kind of car were they riding in? Do you know what route they took? So getting some of this information before the kids leave allows you to have a baseline of where they start with. When they get to their destination, they should be able to tell you, we got here safe. It's not an expectation as an adult, but I'm at the club getting in line trying to pay the toll or whatever. That gives you a baseline of where they are, their last known whereabouts. Doesn't matter what they're doing at that location. When they decide to, after hours, or frequent another location, that's when they check in and say, hey, we're leaving such and such spot, and we're planning on going to such and such location, and so-and-so's going to drive whatever car. This gives you the ability to know where they left from, what car they're in, who they're riding with, where they intended on going. At any point in time, if they don't make it to their destination, you know where to start looking for them at. People are going to say, oh, that's too controlling. But that's life. That is how when you're in trouble as an adult, the police expect you to wait 3 days before filing a missing persons report. In 3 days, a lot of things can happen to you if you're still alive. Within 5 hours of coming up missing, your partner can come to your aid. Within 2 hours, if you say help or I need you, they can immediately get to where you are if you keep track and tabs of telling them where you are versus where you were supposed to go. Because most Americans take the most direct route to where they're trying to get to. So if the car broke down and you're trying to find a gas station to go get some gas, and you let your partner know this, then your partner will be looking for the nearest gas station to where you claimed you broke down, because that's what you're going to be trying to get to. And they should find you anywhere between that gas station and the broke down car. That's how things work. Michael said a car at 9 years old snuck out and pushed it down the street before starting it. That's when we had manual transmission cars. When we used to be able to kickstart that bad boy, you would put it in neutral, push it out the driveway, give it a nice little push start with the door sitting wide open and nobody behind the steering wheel. And then once the car starts rolling real good, you run, jump into the car. This is before Drake was ghost riding a whip. You would run and jump into the car, put the clutch down, throw it into first gear, pop the clutch, and the engine would crank up, and then you would shift gears into second and just take off down the street. Yeah, that's called push starting a car. Young bucks don't know nothing about that, though. Michael says, silver alert, missing old man. But that's how it happens, though. Like when I told you guys a couple weeks ago when the Cadillac broke down when I was late for the show that week, I had gotten a call. I was driving. I didn't answer the phone. When the car broke down, I made the call. Now, I'm a grown-ass man. I'm 40 years old, but because my car broke down, I still had power on my phone. First thing I did was call the person who called me, wondering if I was okay, to say, hey, I'm okay, but I'm stuck. I'm working on it. I'm on my way, but I'm stuck. He ain't got a car, but he said, hey, do you want me to come down there? No, I'm good. He could have called a friend and he would have had the friend come and get me. He said, how old are you? Grown ass man. I'm a middle-aged man, but I still check in. That's right, 40. I still check in. I still check in because the people that you value need to know where you was when things went south, so that if they gotta come for you, they know where to go. So if I'm a grown-ass man and I'm willing to tell my elderly father where I'm at and what I'm doing, if I'm a grown-ass man and I'm willing to tell my elderly mother where I'm at and what I'm doing, these females ain't got no excuse as to why they can't tell their boyfriends and their husbands where they at and what they're doing. Because if you care about their whereabouts, you care about them, you care about what's going on over there, you should be able to tell them that you're doing good where you at right now. See what I'm saying? And that's not something that people think about. Now, the caring surveillance often extends to your digital life. And that's when it starts getting brutal, because it might start innocently, like, can I just use your phone to look something up? Which then turns into a casual scroll through your messages, where she might justify it by saying, were you in a relationship? We shouldn't have secrets, right? Or frame it as an issue of trust, putting the burden on you to prove your innocence. A common manipulation phrase is, if you have nothing to hide, you shouldn't have a problem with me looking. I mean, it flips the script entirely. But to me, those phrases piss me off, because if you wasn't suspecting me of something, then you would not be bringing up the accusation in the first place. If you wasn't looking for a problem, then you would not be forcing me to prove to you that I have not done anything wrong. See, the absence of evidence is evidence in and of itself, and that's something that not a lot of people are aware of. Truth is that more often than not, in our lives, we subconsciously do not want to be put into a position of guilt, men and women alike, where we're at fault for doing something. So defensively, we will put so much effort into proving that we're not wrong. And this requires us to put all this extra information on the table, which inherently, typically proves that we're guilty. If y'all ain't been watching enough criminal mastermind shows to know, then y'all would not be able to understand that this is what happened. Let them keep talking. and they will talk their way into being proven guilty because they're going to rationalize. They're going to say it. Oh, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. And then, well, but when I was doing it, I thought about it like this and I didn't feel like it was wrong. As soon as you do that, you admit that you did something. That's the problem. So I'm telling you, when she comes and hits me with, aren't we in a relationship? We shouldn't have nothing to hide. You're right. We shouldn't have anything to hide. But if we're in a relationship, we should have a level of trust where you shouldn't be looking for stuff that you believe is hidden. Damned if you do and damned if you don't. You're right. You're right. But like I said, so here's the problem, because I tell women all the time on the show, I say, ladies, if you are scrolling through his history, looking for a conversation with a female that occurred before you started dating him, you are looking for unnecessary problems. You don't want that relationship, because if you wanted that relationship, you would not looking for proof that he's cheating on you. You're looking in hopes that you find something, because if you didn't think he was cheating, you wouldn't be looking for it. You're assuming that your man is dishonest, and that's why you're looking for a lie. Ladies can admit at least this: you do not ask your man a question that requires an honest answer if you don't already know the answer. You ask him of his whereabouts because you know where he was. You ask him who he's with because you know who he was with, which also means that you know what he's doing and who he's doing it with before you test his honesty to see if he's going to tell you what he's doing and who he's doing it with. Now, if he comes out and tells you what he's doing and who he's doing it with, or who he's doing, then you can trust that he's going to tell you the truth if he tells you what you want him to hear. But if your homegirls told you something that's not necessarily true, you got the wrong idea, and before he can explain, you're accusing him of things that he did not do, you are starting a problem. Because if he doesn't admit that the false information is correct, you're going to crucify him as being a liar. But if he admits that the false information is correct just to save face in a relationship, you will crucify him for confirming the negative information. So if the man is going to get crucified in either scenario, if you believe that whatever information that you got is unacceptable, just break up with the dude. Don't even challenge the trial. And because if you're the judge, jury, and executioner where you're planning on executing before you even have the trial, why waste time with the trial? And this is why I've told men on a regular basis in this podcast, fellas, if you did it on purpose, there is no reason to explain yourself. If you didn't do it, there's no reason to explain yourself. If whatever you did, the outcome wasn't what you thought it was, the only thing you need to apologize for is the unexpected negative outcome that happened to the person. But if you got caught, why are you defending that? You did that on purpose. So what is your explanation for the fact that you did that on purpose? Shouldn't be one, right? So when she asked me about my whereabouts, if I'm going to tell her, I should have already told her where I was and who I was with. She starts questioning my actions and my motives. I got no answers. I got no responses, because if you wanted to know, you would have been there. And since you're not there, it's none of your damn business. Now, Michael says she's not looking for history, and she is probably right, especially if she's young. The young ones actually don't, typically the ones that are trolling through your phone, going through your search history, going through all your inboxes, checking all your social media feeds, are typically the ones that have been in bad relationships. They've been cheated on, they've been misled, and they're insecure at this point. It's not necessarily just straight out flat forward toxic women. It's just ones that have been damaged before. So as soon as you talk to a girl that says, oh, my last boyfriend, I broke up with him because he cheated on me, this is the kind of behavior you're going to get from them. It's not intentional. Sometimes this behavior is subconscious, But the fact is, the fear of having it happen again is going to cause this type of controlling behavior. You're still not going to want to go through it. And that's one of the things that we're talking about. To recognize that this behavior is not okay. Even if it's coming from a positive position, it is not okay. Oh, even more so with some guys. This is also true with guys. But see, the reason why I don't talk about it as much with guys is because it is already a social stigma that if a guy asks too many questions, he's controlling. His homegirls will say it. His sisters will say it. Your homegirls will say it. Your mom and them will say it. It's too much. But nobody tells men when she's doing too much. Abnormal Behavior. Very good book to read. Now, this is going to turn your basic right to privacy into evidence of wrongdoing when they're going through your phone. And you're made to feel that wanting personal space is a betrayal. You're not supposed to have to feel that way. And in more extreme cases, she might ask you for your passwords to your social media or your email, again, under the guise of transparency, the falsehood of transparency. She might encourage you to share your phone's location with her, pitching it as a practical safety feature because that's what it was originally designed for. But what she's using it for isn't that. It's she's going to tell you I just want to know you're okay if you're out late. While that can be used healthily in a controlling context, it becomes a digital leash, letting her monitor your every move, any destination that is a deviation from your initial plans, like stopping at a store on the way home, can become grounds for an interrogation. God forbid you were on your way home, you stopped at a hotel, your homeboy needed a ride. You have to go up to the hotel thing and go help him get his stuff out. Now you're at the hotel for 20 or 30 minutes before you get in the car and leave. Your GPS location stopped at a hotel for 45 minutes and then came back to the house. Now you are interrogated because your car was parked outside of a hotel for a half hour. Likewise, your homeboy's car could have got impounded. The impound lot could be utilized in the back parking lot of a nightclub. You are now in the parking lot of a nightclub. If she's trolling your phone, she sees your car parked outside of a nightclub. Now she thinks you're spending the afternoon with strippers. You're coming home, you're under investigation. That's not what the app is supposed to be for. The app is supposed to be for, if I'm in trouble, I should be able to send you 2 words, help me. And then you should be able to get on the GPS signal and see my last location and get there quickly. Because one of the worst things that has happened in history, which is why these apps were created, was regardless of if you're a man or a woman, you're not paying attention to your surroundings while traveling. You end up in trouble. You call the person you know that'll come and help you, and you ask that person to come get you. They say, "Where are you?" You say the worst words in the world. I don't know. You don't know what the last street was. There are no street signs near your location. You don't know what the name of the last overpass was. You're in the middle of nowhere. There are no markers to indicate where you've been or anything to that effect. You can't even give them an estimation of the last 5 miles. You just been driving, listening to your music, paying attention to what's going on in front of you, and now you don't know exactly where you are. That's what those apps are for. And as a result, now you can send a text message, help. You can say, send a text message, car broke down. You could just say, come get me. And they can look at that GPS signal and go to that last signal and start looking for you from there. That's what they're supposed to be for. But in these controlling relationships, that's not what they're used for. Michael says, privacy. You got no privacy. She's got those mental shackles on your ankles. Good luck. Hope you survive. He said, I'm at a stripper bar. Honey, come get me. That's the best response to have. She's like, where you at? What you doing? Oh, I'm at Hooters and I need you to come get me. I had too many buttery nipples. In both scenarios. Y'all make sure y'all like and subscribe. Now let's be clear. Trust is the cornerstone of a healthy relationship. And a partner who trusts you doesn't need to constantly verify your location. They don't need access to your private messages to feel secure. And they respect your autonomy, meaning your ability to have your own personal space, your own personal life, your own personal agendas. Genuine care is about wanting you to be safe, not about tracking you so that they feel safe. This constant monitoring isn't about your well-being. It's about her anxiety and need for control. I had one time I was living with a chick that I came home from work early. She checked the surveillance cameras to see if I brought somebody extra in the house with me. I'm looking at her like, the fuck? I'm coming straight. Why would I? First of all, this is my house. But second of all, why would I bring a chick back to the house that I've got a chick in? I left you here and went to work. Why would I expect you to be here when I get back? What cheater would bring a out of relationship fling to the address of their primary girlfriend? Who would do that? It wasn't in her right mind. Yeah, think about this. It treats you not as a partner, but as a subject to be supervised. And this is where the problems come in. Number 3 is the helpful critic. Constant criticism packaged as improvement. It's not positive constructive criticism. It's just constant criticism, which is why I tell women on a regular basis that for every complaint that you bring to your man, bring 5 to 25 compliments. The third sign is a pattern of constant subtle criticism that's disguised as constructive feedback or a desire to help you improve. This is one of the most dangerous forms of control because it directly attacks your self-esteem, slowly eroding your confidence in yourself until you rely on her for any sense of self-worth. It rarely starts with outright insults. Instead, it's coached in the language of support. She's not calling you dumb. She's just helping you see things more clearly. She's not saying you're a slob. She's just helping you get more organized. This criticism often targets your personality, your choice, or your abilities. So, for example, you might tell her about a challenge at work looking for support. Instead, you get unsolicited analysis where she'll tell you, well, you probably should have handled it this way. I'm just telling you so you can do better next time. Or you'll share a personal goal and she'll probably respond with, that's a great dream, but are you being realistic? I just don't want to see you get disappointed. That leads you to the dynamic that spreads to every area of your life, where you start doubting the fact that you can perform. If a woman was to ever ask me if I being realistic about my goals, my dreams, and my ambitions, I would have to challenge that, because one of the goals and dreams and ambitions that I had was this relationship. So do you believe that I was mistaken by that? Because my decision-making skills also decided to have this relationship. Is it a great program? Happy weekend, everybody. Best advice is to seek professional help if needed. Remember to like and subscribe. He's right about that. Oh, and how many of you guys actually followed the homework from last weekend? Because you guys were supposed to turn $20 into $40 legally. I know I made mine. Now, one of the next things that you'll see is that your clothes. They accepted you for who you were when they were talking to you, when they first started talking to you, but now that shirt doesn't really do you justice. You should let me help you pick out your clothes. Now, regrettably, like back in the 60s and 70s, women used to dress their men, but they used to dress their men the way their men wanted to be dressed. These days, women dress their men the way she would prefer him to look, which would be inherently different than the way he would dress himself if he were making that choice with her or single without her. Now, your friends would say, hey, he's a nice guy, but maybe a bit of a loser. You know, I think you could do with more ambitious friends, you know? So they'll challenge your clothes. They'll challenge your friends. You know, then they'll challenge your hobbies and say, well, you spend so much time on that video game. Fellas, you hear this one all the time. Don't you think you could be using your time more productively elsewhere, right? Each individual comment can be rationalized. It's easy to tell yourself she's just trying to help, but that cumulative effect is devastating. It creates a dynamic where you feel like you're perpetually falling short. So you start to second guess your own judgment and competence. You might find yourself seeking her approval for minor decisions because you've been conditioned to believe your own choices are inherently flawed. And this isn't what support looks like. A genuinely supportive partner builds you up. They don't fix you. They believe in you, which means they should believe in your judgment, which means you should be able to make a decision and they respect it. They offer advice when you ask for it, but they don't impose their judgment on you. That's a positive relationship. A healthy relationship should make you feel more confident, more capable, and more like yourself. So if you feel like you are a perpetual fixer-upper project, you are not experiencing love. You're experiencing control. The goal of this constant criticism isn't to help you grow. It's to break you down. It's a way of chipping away at your sense of self until you're more compliant and more dependent on her for your sense of value. It's a profound disrespect for who you are, disguised as a desire to help you become better. So the fourth sign is when she constantly makes decisions for both of you without your input, justifying it as being thoughtful or just taking care of things. It's a subtle but powerful way to sideline your autonomy and make your preferences irrelevant. When she's making decisions for you in the direction that you would have made them yourself, she's being assistive and supportive. But if she is making decisions that you don't agree with without your input, recognizing that that is not what you would want, that's when this becomes a problem. And this often starts small. She might order for you at the restaurant saying, I know what you like, and this is the best thing here. Even if that's not what you would have asked for, she might make social plans for both of you without checking first, presenting it as a happy surprise, such as, guess what? I told the Jacksons we'd be there for dinner on Saturday. It'll be fun, right? Fuck that. I got better things to do. Even if it's scratching my balls on the couch watching Netflix, I was not involved in going to the Jacksons. I'm not going to the Jacksons. You can go to the Jacksons. I don't even like the Jacksons. Since the Jackson 5 video, I've never been a fan. See what I'm saying? On the surface, when this happens, these actions can look like sweet gestures. She's taking the mental load off of you. It's easy to see it as her being considerate. But when it becomes a pattern, it stops being about thoughtfulness and becomes about control. Your calendar fills up with things you never agreed to. Your weekends are dictated by her, and this extends to big decisions too, where she might make significant purchases for the house without decisions or discussions, saying it was on sale and I knew we needed it, so I just got it. Don't worry about it. Shit, with your money, bitch, not with mine. They tripping. Or she might make decisions about your shared finances, presenting it as a done deal. No. I've told you guys that in relationships, after a certain quantity of money, usually somewhere between $500 and $1,000, we are supposed to be in a dictatorship later on in life. Because right now, today, democracy is what happened. And when I say anything over $500 to $1,000, if it's more than the car note, we got to talk about it. The rent, we got to talk about it. You understand? Yeah, you can cancel the cable if you want to, but you can't cancel the internet. I'm using the internet. See what I'm saying? You can't take my car off of the car. You can take your car off the car insurance, but you can't take my car off of my car insurance. These are decisions that we have to talk about together. See what I'm saying? You can't cash out on my stock options if you even know about them. Because no, these are things that we've got to talk about. So when you try to express a different opinion in these situations, you might be met with hurt or confusion. Like, I don't understand. I thought you'd be happy I took care of this. I was just trying to help. This response is a form of emotional manipulation. And I tell you guys, you got to stand on non-negotiable expectations for behavior, because if you are trying to help, you'd be following my instructions. Because if I didn't say go do that, you're not trying to help. But this particular effort, it frames your desire to have a say in your own life as you being ungrateful. I accept that. I will be ungrateful before I allow you to do some shit I don't agree with. But this controlling tactic would make you feel wrong for wanting to be an equal partner, or you'll experience over time that you may learn it's just easier to go along with her plans than to face the emotional fallout. So you stop offering opinions because you know they'll be dismissed. This is when you're in one of those okay relationships where you guys aren't fighting all the time, but you're not happy in that relationship. She's happy because you're putting forth the effort to not allow her to get mad if you can help it. But you're not happy. In a real relationship, decisions that affect both people are made together. It's a collaboration. A healthy partner asks, what do you think we should do this weekend? Or, I was thinking of getting a new coffee maker. What are your thoughts? If she wanted to go to the Jacksons, then she would tell the Jacksons, I will run it by my husband and I'll see what he says and I'll get back to you. Then she will come to you and say, hey, I was talking to the Jacksons and I was thinking about us going over to their place this weekend. What do you think about that? Do you have the availability for that? Are you okay with that? Then when you sign on, then she can go back to the Jacksons and say, all right, we'll be there. But under no circumstances should she be booking your calendar for anything other than what you know is about to happen outside of the occurrences of a rarely performed surprise action. So like a surprise birthday party event, a surprise Valentine's Day event, a surprise New Year's Eve or Christmas event where she's celebrating you and she's setting it up without you knowing about it so that she can surprise you with that. That is the only time that you're booked without your knowledge. Just for you to accompany her as her plus one to a location that she wants to go to and not go there alone, that's not what that's about. But in a good relationship, they're going to value your input because they see you as an equal and they want to build a life with you, not for you. So when one person constantly makes all the decisions, it's a clear power play and it sends the message that your thoughts don't matter and your role is to simply go along. It strips you of your agency and reduces you from an active party an active participant in your own life to a passive passenger. And this isn't thoughtfulness. It's the erasure of your voice. One helpful decision at a time. Now, the fifth sign, and we should be wrapping up these signs. I don't think we have. Actually, I think I might be going through 10 signs, which is crazy because we've only touched on 5. But the fifth sign is strategically use affection, intimacy, and even basic kindness as a tool for control. Now, fellas, we've experienced this a lot with the boyfriend boot camp. And ladies don't want to hear this. Fellas, y'all can like and subscribe, and ladies, y'all do what y'all think is best. But in this dynamic, love isn't a constant reassuring presence. It's something that's given or taken away to reward you for good behavior or punish you for bad behavior. This is not good in any relationship if it's done by a man or a female, but we are experiencing it more as men from the women, where women are withholding intimacy, they're withholding affections, they're shutting you out, ghosting you, silent treatments, and all this stuff because they're not satisfied with your choices and your behavior patterns. Ladies, if you don't like what your man is doing, you're never supposed to stop showing him how much you love him, how much you care for him. You're never supposed to withhold intimacy. You're never supposed to punish him for his choices. You are supposed to have a conversation with him to explain to him what your expectations are and then negotiate with him on how he plans on meeting those expectations. Any level of negotiation that he is willing to perform less than your expectations, you know what he is capable of doing in addition to what he's willing to do. Because sometimes men want to do more than what they're capable of, and sometimes men are willing to do less than what they're capable of. And wherever you find a line of both willingness and capability, you're supposed to accept that, not try to force it out of them, because that's not going to end well. Now, this is incredibly powerful because it targets our basic human needs for connection. So when you are behaving in a way where she approves of something that you're doing, she may be incredibly loving and passionate. And this is the love bombing phase that women throw at men on a regular basis. When a man is trying to court a woman and he's overly affectionate in the beginning, women identify that as love bombing. That is not love bombing. Love bombing is when you want to get your way and you are performing a certain way in order to get what you're looking for. And if you don't get your way, you stop performing that way. That's love bombing. A man wearing his heart on his sleeve, love at first sight kind of behavior, first 3 months of trying to convince you that this ain't a game, that's not love bombing. That's you disrespecting his advances for genuine affection, which ultimately means that you're love bombing him. Crazy, right? But this is designed to make you feel intensely connected and dependent on her affections, and it sets a baseline of how good the relationship could be, making its withdrawal that much more painful. And that withdrawal is when the best parts of the relationship is exposed, or the possibilities of the best parts of the relationship is exposed, and then immediately after that it is retracted. This shift happens when you do something she doesn't like. And that's where the happy wife, happy life motto comes from, because maybe you asserted a boundary, you set a non-negotiable expectation for behavior that she disagrees with, or you spent time with friends against her wishes, where she made you choose between her and your friends, and you chose your friends, and now she don't want to talk to you because she feels like you don't care about her. Suddenly, the warmth has vanished. She becomes cold and distant. Your attempts at conversation are met with either one-word answers or complete silence. She might turn away when you try to touch her, or give you the silent treatment for hours or even days longer than the initial moment of dissatisfaction. When you ask what's wrong, the classic response is dismissive, where they say nothing, I'm fine, leaving you in an anxious state, desperately trying to figure out what you did wrong. Bro, when that happens, the first thing you recognize you ain't did nothing wrong. She pissed off at her own pissed offness. And in this scenario, bro, Go back to your Xbox, your PlayStation, and you just enjoy your afternoon of peace and quiet. Because if she ain't willing to talk to you, she ain't got nothing to say. You enjoy your life. Live your best life in them moments of silence. Because when she decide to come up and get all up in your grill and mess up your Super Bowl pass, when she get there and mess up your perfect score, standing in front of the TV trying to get your attention, you already know it's gonna happen. When her shutting you out doesn't faze you, her getting in your face will. It's gonna happen. This isn't just someone needing space when they're upset. This is a deliberate tactic where the silence is punishment. The withdrawal of affection is a tool to make you feel insecure and desperate for her approval. She is, in effect, training you. Fellas, this is not supposed to go down. You're less likely to get this if you go get somebody from overseas, because I'm the only person that you know out here. If you want me to put you on an inner tube and send you back where you came from, I can. But this bullshit gonna stop one way or another, either while you're still here or while you're not here. But either way, I'm not gonna deal with the bullshit. She is gonna train you guys if you allow this to happen. You quickly learn that compliance equals warmth, happy wife, happy life, while independence equals coldness, loneliness, silence. When she's right and you're wrong. And when she's wrong, she's right and you're wrong. If you're right, you're wrong because she's supposed to be right. That doesn't make any sense. And as long as it doesn't make sense, I try to make it make sense. The emotional pain of her withdrawal becomes so great that you find yourself apologizing for things you don't even think are wrong, just to resolve the peace. A lot of men are teaching other men that if you apologize, that resolves the conflict. And it will, because you are admitting defeat, you are accepting fault and blame just so that she can control the narrative. You agree when you disagree so that you avoid conflict. I'm not about that. I tell you guys that this does not work because you personally are not satisfied. Ladies, if I flip the script on all of this stuff and I talk to you guys about how this is something that a man could do to you in your relationship, I will still tell y'all the same thing. I will still tell y'all the same thing. You're supposed to be able to do what you think is best and not be shunned for that. If I had a partner that thought it was better to perform a certain way, and you tell me in advance where I can rationalize that and say, you know what, let's see how that turns out. I'm not saying you're not allowed to make your own decisions. I'm not saying that you're not allowed to take proactive action, because I am going to tell you that if I wasn't there and the shit was going south, the first thing that I would say is, why didn't you try to do something about it? I don't expect you to let the shit hit the fan because I'm not there for you to discuss with me and get my consent to take action. Long as you resolved it, it's resolved. That might have not have been the way I would have gone about doing it, but as long as you resolved it, it's resolved. When I come back, good job, you're self-sustainable until I come back. You know what I mean? Because no matter what's going on, you got to hold down the fort till your partner comes back. But you are not to be restricted from making your own impulsive, because both men and women are supposed to be able to find a partner that would make the kind of decisions that you agree with. Their path to the outcome might not be the path that you would have taken to the outcome, but if the outcome is the outcome that you would have preferred, y'all can talk about how they went about doing it. At the end of the day, if the ends justified the means, we can discuss the means, the collateral damage that happened as a way of getting there. But at the end of the day, you got there. See what I'm saying? We can figure it out after the fact. We can discuss how you could have done that more effectively so that if it does happen again, that you'll make a different choice. But at no point in time am I supposed to shun you or shame you for making the decision that you made just because I didn't make that decision. Just because I'm not okay with what you decided, how you decided to do it. But we are supposed to be communicating in a relationship on a regular basis so that we can do collateral damage resolutions. That way everybody's on the same page and everybody's in agreement. But this can especially be powerful when it comes to physical intimacy, because a lot of the times, ladies, y'all can disagree with this, but the truth is that sex can be used as a primary lever of control. We've seen some women on social media telling other girls, oh, if he don't give you money, then you don't sleep with the guy. And I'm sitting over here like, why are you transactionalizing relationships like that? If you're going to control him by making him give you his last dollars or any extra money that he has in his pocket so that you can go enjoy the pleasures of life just so that he can sleep with you, he's renting you inappropriately for your affections. Which adult freelance workers can do the exact same thing, probably for less money and more cooperation. It is ridiculous. You are supposed to be able to provide unconditional love and affection, even if he's broke as fuck. And then he is supposed to provide for you to the best of his ability, even when he's mad at you. Like, that's how things work. But when she's pleased with you, intimacy might be frequent and enthusiastic. Instead of her being like watching paint dry, she might be more involved. But when you're misbehaving to her expectations, when you're misbehaving, all of this stuff might be off the table. She might claim she's not in the mood, but the message is clear. Intimacy is conditional. She might tell you, well, I have a headache. I'm tired. I don't feel like it today. And that's fine. You need to tag in Tuesday. Let her go ahead and take some time off and go tag in Tuesday and let Tuesday take over. Because this type of behavior creates deeply unhealthy dynamics where sex isn't about mutual desire, but a reward to be earned. And you fellas, Gen Zers, y'all need to pay attention to this, because in a healthy relationship, affection is the foundation, not a bargaining chip. Partners can disagree and have arguments without threatening their core connection. So you're still supposed to be able to be pissed off at each other and still be able to have wild, passionate sex. You're still supposed to be able to have affection. You're still supposed to be able to hold each other, hug each other, lay your hands on each other's shoulders or legs or arms or whatever the case may be, be able to put your head in your partner's lap. They shouldn't be pulling away from you. You should be able to still get the kiss that you normally would have gotten, even if they're mad at you. They shouldn't be moving their head or dodging your affections or anything to that effect just because they're mad at you. That's not how life goes. Okay, not in a healthy relationship, at least. When they communicate their feelings directly instead of using punishment or silence, the affection is a source of comfort, not something to be weaponized, which means that they're going to take time out of the day when it's just the two of you, where y'all can have a communication that is not yelling at each other, to express your concerns and your discontent in a non-judgmental environment where you guys can work through what your partner's not satisfied with without controlling or being controlled by your partner. It's a given experience of love and affection that is freely provided as an expression of love, not conditionally as a tool of control. So if you find yourself constantly changing your behavior, avoiding certain topics, or sacrificing your own needs to avoid having affection withdrawn, you're in a controlling relationship. She is teaching you that her love is not unconditional. It is a prize that can only be won through your submission. And that's not love. It's emotional blackmail. So I want to pause here for a moment, because if these first 5 signs are hitting close to home, if you're feeling that knot of recognition in your stomach or in your throat, please know that your feelings are valid. This is a tough topic, and it takes immense courage to even consider that a relationship that you care about might be unhealthy. But if this resonates with you, take a second to subscribe to the channel and like the video, because we've got a lot more information about stuff like this going on throughout the rest of the week. And then we also have some financial information that we're going to be going over Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. Our goal here is to provide you guys with clarity and support. And by subscribing, you will join a community of people committed to building healthier, more respectful relationships. So you're not alone in this situation. Now, let's get back into the final 5 signs. Apparently, there was 10. Oh, shit. We're halfway through now. 6, the sign of masterful use of guilt to control your actions. A lot of us have grown up in a single family household with a mother that has utilized this behavior. We recognize it growing up. The more we experience it, the less we tolerate it. And then we get into relationships where we start seeing it from our girlfriends. The irony is, fellas, a lot of times you choose a person that you relate to. So you end up either dating a girl that reminds you of your mother or dating a girl that reminds you of your father, because we date with familiarity. No matter how you look at it, it's a vicious cycle that it's hard to get out of. Your type actually is the familiarity sometimes of toxicity. So if you're looking at somebody that is not your type, you might want to try that and then see if that's going to come about in a better scenario. I love this. Here we go. We have I'm guessing this is a woman that, and usually they come in and they're negative about these things. So by all means, I'm willing to take all prisoners here. She says, this is Sevilla J. Special shout out to Sevilla J. She says, have you ever been in a relationship before? What you're talking about makes no sense. You remind me of a monkey. What is meant to be? I love this. This is perfect examples. Now, normally I don't like negative comments on the platform. You can disagree with my opinion, but I expect you to bring facts to the table. Prove me wrong, because all of the information that I provide is supported by facts and research. This isn't personal perspectives. This isn't a show that's complaining about anybody or anything. This is widely accepted knowledge. But usually the person who behaves this way is the person that will first come up and attack the messenger. So notice how the first thing she did was challenge if I've ever been in a relationship before. If I have been in a relationship before, then ironically, I would have experienced this type of shaming behavior, which is what she's doing right now. Then she goes forward to saying that I make no sense. Now, we've had plenty of men on this situation that has completely confirmed and verified all of what we've been talking about so far. Then we have this information where you're trying to you're name calling now. So I'm about as much of a monkey as you are. And at this particular juncture of the discussion, you're saying that it makes no sense because this is how you behave and it's hurting your feelings. So now you're projecting negativity onto me. And that really is an inappropriate behavior to perform. But usually toxic people that have toxic behaviors that fit the description of what we're going through is exactly the type of person that will jump in with this type of negativity. So I'm glad that this person jumped in, because here, look, following through, they're saying garbage, my facts. They can't even write in complete sentences, but garbage, my facts. So how are my facts garbage when you came in? You provided no facts, no proof, no evidence, no statistics that defers my position. Then all you did was attack my character as a person. Attack my character, attack my humanity as a human being. You're identifying me as a primate. And the only reason why you're identifying me as a primate is because you can't use the negative racial slurs because they're blocked off of the platform. That's very interesting to see. Then he says he's a man. Okay, well, I thought you were a chick because you're coming in here acting like a chick that's bitter about the truth. If the high heels fit, you should wear them. Now he says, because you started this live show with no credibility. Okay, now you're starting to sound a little bit more mature. So you're saying that I started this live podcast over an hour ago, 2 hours ago, actually, with no credibility, right? Now, what type of credibility am I supposed to have for you who are scrolling through your shorts reel to stumble across this platform, potentially listen to me for 5 or 10 minutes, and then start objecting and rebuttaling? Because truthfully, with no profile photo, usually it's a chick that is up here trolling, pretending like she's a dude, and hating me for what I'm saying. Because most guys don't disagree with this. Unless you're doing it to chicks, most guys would be like, yep, these women are out here rugged. Right, okay, so here we go. He says, you just talk, but no sense made yet. Again, no facts. Again, with no facts. There's nothing supporting the fact that what I'm saying is wrong. There's nothing that you're talking about that disproves anything that I'm saying. And it makes sense. He is my entertainment for the night. So you came to troll, and now that you've got my attention because you found out that we're an interactive podcast, you're going to try, I guess, to upset me. But no, you're the epitome of exactly what we're talking about. The bitter, toxic person that likes to devalue and degrade another individual for your own satisfaction. That's exactly what we're talking about right now. And your behavior is not fitting of a committed relationship, which is what we're talking about right now. So I'm glad that you're here. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of the show. For your content, bro, not that I want to troll for no reason. Yeah, you are trolling for no reason, because let's be honest, if you disagree with what I have to say, if you want to be in a healthy conversation or a debate, you can provide factual information, you can argue the facts, you can discuss the topic at hand. Devaluing and degrading me as a person is not having an adult conversation. That's what children and abusive individuals do. So if you are trying to really prove that the facts and information that I'm providing you is wrong, then you should be able to spend more time doing your research and then citing some statistics and some facts from more credible sources that you believe in that actually prove that what I'm saying is wrong. Then you would be able to talk about the topic of discussion from the objectiveness that you disagree with the facts that I'm giving you, not that you disagree with me as a person for saying these facts. Because this information has been around for hundreds of years. And this is the reason why I'm able to do research on it and then start talking about it. So my entire podcast is based on facts. 100% of the shows that I do are based on detailed research, facts, and information. Takes me hours to put this information together for daily new topics. Okay. So, I mean, like I said, you can be an adult. You say you're a man, behave like a mature man, and contest my information with counter information. However, if you're going to come up here like an immature child and just bash me as a person, instead of bashing me as a person, you can simply thumbs down the podcast and leave. You don't have to hang around and troll my podcast and try to say negative things about me as a person because you disagree with the statements that I'm making. If you disagree with the statements, refute the statements. So he says there's no such thing exists. She is controlling you. You are letting them to control your life. Change your title, you joker. Okay, so there are a lot of the young men out there right now that are allowing women to control their lives. First of all, your sentences need a whole lot more grammar improvement. So you might want to take a little bit of time and spell check and grammar check before you hit the enter button. Again, calling me a joker is, again, attacking my character, not actually disproving or proving anything. Likewise, what you have to understand, because I thought you were a female because that's how you're acting right now. The fact is that young generation individuals who do not have proper guidance will end up in a relationship where they're being controlled. And you can't tell me that there isn't a large quantity of Gen Z individuals that are not being controlled by their girlfriends, because this is the behavior that we've seen. It's all over social media. It's in every relationship. And a lot of us don't know that it's not supposed to happen this way. And not a lot of men have grown up with a male, because 18% of fathers get custody after separation, which means that the other 80% of families, the children are growing up in a single family environment that is with the mother, where the boys are not being properly taught how to be men or how to treat a woman or how to be treated by a woman. So if they didn't know that how they're being treated by a woman is wrong, because a woman will teach a man how to bow down and submit to a woman and worship her like a queen, but a woman will not teach a man the toxicity in a woman. You get that from your homeboys. You get that from your mentors, the old school men that come around you and sit you down and say, "Look, come here, little boy. Come sit down. Let me tell you why your nose wide open over here chasing a little girl. The little girl don't want you. She using you for all you got." You get that from the last generation. So yeah, we're going to have a whole talk today about how some of these gentlemen that are listening to this podcast, and you might be, since you're saying you're a man, you might be one of those fellas that's being drugged by the nose by a female, where you dumping all your money on this chick that don't want you, would not want to be seen with you in public, but you still give her everything you got just so that she can answer the phone when you call the 8th time. Which is why you're so bitter that you're on here talking to me about how you disagree with what I said, by trying to devalue me as a person. He says, don't be ignorant, take your own advice. He said, and talk with no sense. There are many ways to earn money. Hold on. We spend Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday talking about stocks and investments in multiple countries around the world. We talk about cryptocurrencies, precious metals, gold, and other such things. We talk about making money. This is talking about personal development. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday is about personal development. So outside of making sure that your money is right, you have to make sure that you're making the right decisions so that you're not wasting your money. The money that you have earned after all of the effort you put into getting that money. So, Simple Simon, you're telling me not to be ignorant. You should take your own advice. Instead of being closed-minded and shallow, stop being ignorant and open your mind to new information. Listen and learn, because this information might benefit you unless you're the cause of the problem. And again, just because I'm on this podcast just doesn't mean that I'm getting paid for it. I make my money elsewhere so that I have time to be here. I don't have to answer to somebody else the way you do. And because you feel devalued everywhere else in your life, you make it a point to come here to try to devalue me, to make you feel better about yourself because your life sucks. Because no human being takes time out of their day to jump onto somebody else's live podcast where effort was put into this 2-hour-long live podcast. It's probably got another 40 minutes worth of information to go, so that you can sit there and devalue the person themselves, not because you actually have factual information that may undermine the actual information being provided on the channel. You have yet to, over the last, how long you been here right now? 10 minutes. You have yet to, out of this last 10 minutes, provide me with any statistics, any facts, or any information. You can't name one source of information that debunks what you call false information from me. And I'm going to be honest with you. Over the past 3 years, no one has ever come to this podcast and provided factual information that would debunk any information that I have provided on this channel. And I stand by that. I stand by the accuracy of the information that I provide. Now, when we start talking about the guilt tactics, I love when they go silent, because that's when they understand that I hurt their feelings by telling them the truth, and then they go somewhere and cry. But these tactics work by making you feel responsible for the other person's happiness and emotional stability, turning you into her emotional caretaker and hijacking your own needs in the process. A partner who uses guilt as a weapon rarely makes direct demands. Instead, they use passive, emotionally charged language that implies you owe them. One of the most common forms is playing the victim. You'll hear things like, after everything I do for you, you're going to choose to go out with your friends instead of staying with me. Or, I sacrifice so much for this relationship and it feels like you don't even care. I don't even let these situations finish, because when they start throwing down all of the alleged effort that they put into the relationship, then my question comes out. Is what you're telling me is your effort into the relationship is valued more than mine? Because we both make sacrifices in different ways. See how this guilt trip don't go that far. And what does the sacrifices that you make in this relationship have to do with me hanging out with my friends, especially when the sacrifices that I make in this relationship allows you to go and hang out with your friends? Notice how the lack of sense, the same way Sylvia J made no sense, the lack of sense is countered with a question of accuracy. Can you make that make sense for me? But these statements are designed to make you feel guilty and obligated. They reframe a perfectly normal action like seeing your friends as selfish betrayal. Another common tactic is making you feel responsible for their anxiety. So if you're out late, instead of a real conversation, you'll get, I couldn't sleep all night. I was completely wrecked worrying about you. My response is, why? Take you to Benadryl, drink your 3 glasses of wine, and take your ass to bed. I'll wake you up when I get back. Fuck you mean? Drink your half a bottle of NyQuil and go to sleep. Fuck you mean? The unspoken message is clear. Your independence causes their pain. So to be a good partner, you must limit your activities to keep her calm. You become responsible, not for your actions, but for her emotional reactions to your actions. And this also surfaces when you try to bring up a problem of your own. So let's say you feel she's been distant and you try to talk about it. A manipulative partner might respond with, you think I've been distant? I'm so overwhelmed with work, and now I have to deal with you thinking I'm not a good enough partner. I guess I can't do anything right. Instantly, the conversation is no longer about your feelings. It has been twisted to be about her struggles and you and your apparent lack of compassion. So you went in seeking support and end up feeling guilty for even bringing it up. And now you're comforting her. That is recklessness. So here we go with Jay. We're going to go ahead and deal with Jay real quick, because she's coming in, he's coming in acting like a she, coming in with a little bit of bashing right now. So let's go ahead and see what the bashing is about. Relationships matter most because in the end, it's not what we achieve, but who we share it with. So appropriate. I appreciate that. That truly defines a meaningful life, right? Okay, I understand that. So if you don't understand this and in a relationship, you are a fool. He lost all grammar there. And taking some ignorant advice is the biggest foolishness. I agree, which is why we shouldn't take any of your advice. You do make a good point part of the way. So I guess you quoted somebody because I see a quotation mark at the beginning, and then your statement that was improper grammar, which means you probably don't speak English as a first language. You're wrong. You started off right, but then you finished off wrong. Here's the thing. With your first statement, yes, the relationship does matter. The difference is, though, men get into a relationship for a companion, a partner who is going to share in the goals that are being chased and benefit from the success that is being made in the relationship. Women, not so much. Women get into a relationship so that she can benefit from the relationship, regardless of what people think. Then, in that relationship, if she can grow with him and benefit from being in a relationship, it is a meaningful relationship with her. But you guys are supposed to be growing and building together, where you are supposed to be building a cohesive unit style relationship. Now, the thing is that it's only ignorant advice if you're getting advice from the wrong people, such as a single woman that's encouraging you to destroy your marriage because she thinks that you would do better being single. A single woman that is encouraging a younger woman to go out and be single just because she's not in a relationship. But good advice comes from individuals who you're in a relationship, you're trying to stay in that relationship, you don't know what to do. And this person is telling you ways to improve your relationship by improving your communication, recognizing where there's problems, and then proactively getting in there and trying to resolve those problems without abandoning ship. That is the type of advice that you're going to get from any sound individual, therapist, psychiatrist, or whatever. Individuals who've been through negative relationships and have learned how to navigate out of them. Emotionally intelligent individuals who know how to not react to negative emotions, but to act on logic, reason, and fairness. At what point is that ignorant? That's sixth sense. Okay, right. The sixth sense of me understanding that you don't know what you're talking about. And you're right. It's not just men that experience this behavior. Women experience this behavior too. But if you were watching the show over 2 hours ago, then you would have known when I said that ladies pay attention because men can do this too. But this is a 70% male-driven podcast from the male's perspective, where we're enlightening men on the behavior that they should be able to rectify from their first-person accountability perspective, where you can see where things are not going the way it should go, and you put forth the effort to change that. You don't change that by changing the other person. You change that by changing your involvement in your decision-making process while you're involved in that scenario, or remove yourself from the scenario altogether. Yet, while you quoted somebody but did not cite the quote, you have yet to disprove anything that I've said. But you have inherently called me a fool, a monkey. You've called me stupid. You've said that I'm ignorant, which is all shaming tactics to try to devalue me. But never once have you given any credible facts that have disproven anything that I've had to say. But you did have a nice straw man topic that redirected everyone's attention to somewhere else. But just because the quote that you had from somebody else did make sense, it doesn't validate any of the name calling that you've been doing or the shaming that you've been doing this entire time you've been on the show. Because you can prove me wrong. You can prove that I'm stupid by proving me wrong with facts and never calling me stupid. You can prove that I'm too ignorant to know what I'm talking about by citing legitimate sources that completely debunk everything that I'm saying without ever calling me ignorant. You can show me that I don't know what I'm doing by doing it better without ever saying at all that I don't know what I'm doing. But you can also try to add value to your own life by devaluing another human being for absolutely no reason. And then because you have no reason to do this, you have no facts to debunk what I'm saying, you have no validation at all. And because I'm giving you validation by acknowledging your negative comments, that is why you're still here. So he says, what you say is self-PR, as you know everything, but you title is wrong, ignorant. That is what I'm saying all along. Well, first of all, your sentence structure is incorrect. My title is accurate. And the reason why the title is accurate is from the top to the bottom. We've been talking about different ways that you can be in a relationship where if this behavior occurs, then you would know that your partner is controlling you, which means that this is true information. This is factual information. It is linear from the title through the entire show. And actually, it's not self-PR because I'm not promoting myself. I myself am promoting a problem. And throughout promoting the problem, I also promote the solution. So this isn't even a bitch fest. This isn't even a red pill, blue pill, black pill podcast. This podcast is about business and finance, social improvement, and knowledge. We're actually tagged in like multiple different Wikipedia sources and all across Google's platform for providing knowledge and information and facts. This isn't even the only entertainment that you get is learning something that you can make money from or self-improvement. So for you to be here, and then the funny thing is that you're saying that I'm ignorant because you're not knowledgeable enough to understand the title and the information because you showed up an hour and a half after the show started. So because you don't know what's going on, you're saying that I'm ignorant. You do realize that when you try to find fault in somebody else, you can only find fault in someone else that you have in yourself. So in order for you to call me ignorant, you would have to identify the stupidity in yourself before you can project that onto me. Does that make sense? In order for you to sit here and try to say that I don't know what I'm talking about because you don't agree with the title of the show. You don't agree with the title of the show. But there are no facts that disprove all the information that I've provided in the show. Have you ever heard about Dunning-Kruger effect? How does that even apply to what we're talking about right now? This is a straw man topic that completely different from being in a controlling relationship topic. So if you prove if you define the Dunning-Kruger effect, how do you disprove the psychological and emotional manipulation that is in a controlling relationship discussion that is the primary subject of this show? If you know what it means, you will understand where we stand. No, I wouldn't understand where we stand. Because I lack competence. But the Dunning-Kruger effect does not prove that I lack competence. The Dunning-Kruger effect doesn't even disprove anything that I'm talking about on the show today. It's not even related to today's topic. So actually what we have here is that you lack validation in yourself. You're lacking attention and you're using negative attention from me to validate yourself. Now he's coming up with new forms of words. Tube light. I'm guessing that's going to be similar to gaslighting. I love it. I love it. It's the psychological and emotional manipulation, the abusive behavior that I tell you guys, if you experience this in your relationship, you should put a stop to it if you want to stay with the person. But me, myself, I would dissolve myself from that person. I would just completely remove myself from that person's existence because that's the type of bullshit that we've been talking about all day that is not healthy for a relationship. In a healthy relationship, partners take responsibilities for their own emotions. So Jay would be taking responsibility for his own behavior and recognizing that he doesn't agree with what's going on the channel and just leave, instead of hanging here calling me stupid and saying that I'm incompetent and calling me a monkey and, you know, all of these other things. The more that you put effort into trying to devalue me, that goes to show me exactly how little you value yourself, because in order for you to build yourself up, you have to try to tear me down. And then you think that you're going to distract me from, I do believe, another 30 minutes worth of discussion. See, there we go. Now, that was the last straw. But he tried to tear me down and put forth so much effort into trying to distract me from the main topic of the show. And the fact is that there are a lot of people that do that because their feelings are hurt. They have nothing else to do with their lives. They have people who will troll you because that's the most entertainment that they get. The longer you entertain it, sometimes the worse they get. Some people, I let them troll the podcast because they might start off in a joking manner, trying to have fun, and then they come and find out, oh shit, I can learn something from this guy. And then they keep coming back because they can benefit from it. Some people, like Jay, continue to act like a very toxic female and are not suitable to maintain their position on the podcast. So now we're going to move forward in a healthy position. While you can be supportive to your partner, you aren't responsible for managing them. A healthy partner communicates their needs directly. So, for example, instead of them manipulating with, I was a wreck, a healthy partner might say, when you're out late, I don't hear from you, I start to feel anxious. Could you send a quick text to let me know you're okay? There's no guilt involved in that. The first approach induces guilt to control you. The second expression is the ability to present your feelings and propose a solution together. So if your girlfriend is out late at night, she's hanging out with the girl, she doesn't check in on a regular basis. When she does get home, instead of yelling and fussing and cursing at her, demanding her to change, you explain to her that it brings you great levels of concern because you don't know where she is and you don't know if she's okay. And you're asking her that as time progresses for her to check in and let you know at least I'm okay. That's like 4 letters so that I don't have to worry about you. And if you're on your way back, to let me know that you're on your way back. I can gauge the time it takes to get back here. If you're on your way back and it takes too much time, that allows me to come look for you because you could have gotten into a car crash. Your car could have broke down in an area where you don't have internet service. And if you were in trouble, you would want your partner to come get you. You don't want your partner to come get you because it's time for bed. See what I'm saying? They want you to come home now, so they're going to come get you. That's not what it's about. But if your partner is out at the club drinking with the homies and they had too many to drink and they told you that, I'm still at the club, I think I might be a little drunk, they shouldn't have to ask you, can you come get me? You should be able to say, okay, I'll be outside, so that you have a ride. And then you go to where the club is that your partner is at. Even if they're going to after party somewhere else, from the time your partner gets drunk until the time your partner gets home, you are now going to be with them to make sure that they're okay. That's not controlling. That's taking care of your loved ones. Yeah, we can after party in so-and-so's house. But I'm going to come and get you from the nightclub. I'll be outside. You find a place to park the car. You go tell the bouncer, hey, I'm looking for such and such person. When she comes out, let her know that I'm right over here. You don't even got to go in the club, go get her. As she staggers out of the club, I'm right here. Walk her to the car, bring her home. Or wherever they were going after the fact. IHOP, get some coffee, sober up kind of thing. That's how you keep your partner safe. if the roles were reversed and your husband was caught, to keep him from getting a DUI, and he touched you, that they made him do, but he voluntarily took those shots, a large quantity of shots. You know your boyfriend is drunk. Why risk it? Go get him from the club. His car could be there, but you know what? I'm going to bring you home, then I'm going to bring you back when you're sober, and we'll come get your car in the morning. That keeps your husband and your boyfriend from getting a DUI. This is compassion, not control. It's a difference in behavior, right? Guilt is a powerful tool because it preys on your empathy. A controlling woman learns that she doesn't have to demand things if she can make you feel like you should do them anyway. And this is learned from a long quantity of experience in relationships, which is one of the reasons why the younger women are not doing that as often as the older women. The older women in their 30s and 40s and 50s are going to use more guilt and control. The younger women are going to do more ask and answer. 18, 19, 20, can you, will you, should you? And then later on in life, in 30s, 40s, and 50s, you better, and if you don't, you'll find yourself constantly trying to anticipate the emotional needs of your partner, often at the expense of your own happiness. And this isn't partnership, it's emotional servitude. The seventh sign is extremely jealous individuals, which is often romanticized at first as a sign of intense love, but is really about deep-seated insecurity and a desire for ownership. Ladies, y'all will experience this in y'all relationships as well. When you first start dating, a little jealousy can feel flattering. The idea that she's scared to lose you can make you feel wanted, but it's a controlling relationship. We talked about this yesterday. The flattery quickly sours into a constant barrage of suspicion. She might become intensely uncomfortable with you having any interactions with other women, regardless of the context. Y'all notice those boyfriend boot camps that y'all seen on social media where the girl is yoking the man up by the neck, threatening him and all this other stuff. They train him. They come up to the car pretending like they're another woman to see how he would behave. And if he doesn't behave the way she wants, she starts fussing and cussing at him because he better do certain kinds of behavior. Look now. And if he responds to that negatively, you got a fight on your hands. That's not healthy. That is control. A friendly chat with a female colleague, a polite conversation with a cashier, or even liking another woman's photo on social media can trigger a very negative interrogation, and that's something that you don't want to have. She will frame her jealousy as a product of her deep love, where she might say, I just love you so much that the thought of anyone else getting your attention hurts. Or I'm not trying to be controlling. I just get scared of losing you. These statements are designed to make you feel special while also making you feel responsible for her feelings. The problem isn't her insecurity. The problem is your behavior, the way she's structuring this. And I'm going to be honest with you. When they come and tell you this bullshit, I let them know out the gate. While I appreciate the jealousy, it might even look cute. You need to understand that if you're insecure about losing me, then that means that deep down in your mind, deep down in your heart and soul, you know you fucking up in this relationship. And you know that if I see that and I haven't said nothing about it, that you suspect that I might be finding somebody to replace you because you're not doing your best. So instead of taking that out on me, you need to figure out where you're fucking up at, because a lot of the times it's you deliberately not doing things that you know that I wish you would do. Start doing that, because if I have to come and talk to you about a breakup, that means you've been fucking up for a long time, because your boss don't talk about firing you until they're tired of your bullshit. They don't put you on academic probation until they're tired of your bullshit, but you've been fucking up a long time before they put you on academic probation. So if you're afraid of losing your position, you're afraid of losing your position because you know you are not behaving correctly. And it is not my responsibility to tell you where you fucking up. It's your responsibility to figure it out and stop it. That type of conversation, I'm going to give you guys better advice down the line, but that type of conversation really gets them to understand, hey, it ain't me. Because honest to God, if I have the plan on to leave you, I will give you advance notice that I'm considering going somewhere else. Until we have that conversation, because I'm not going to have that conversation in a joking fashion. If I decide that you might not be the right one for me, then I will let you know that I am reconsidering this engagement. You have until I have that conversation with you to fix whatever is going wrong in this relationship. Because if not, the relationship is going to end. Because again, as men, we are supposed to be consistent about standing on our non-negotiable expectations for behavior, which means that we are supposed to be assertive about the position that we will not tolerate certain negative behavior. Negative behavior not being tolerated is not controlling the other person. I want to be happy the way you want to be happy. And if I'm going to put forth effort into making you happy, you better be putting in enough effort to make sure that I am happy with you. Because if you're the only one happy between the two of us, you got to go. Because I'll be happy by myself before I'm miserable with somebody else. Think about that. This passiveness is often going to lead to unreasonable rules, where you might be forbidden from having female friends. She might demand you unfriend exes on social media. She might scrutinize your interactions and twist innocent gestures into evidence of cheating. She might make you completely dissolve your entire social media platform, where you find yourself living in a state of hypervigilance, carefully monitoring your own normal behavior to avoid triggering her, where you stop mentioning female coworkers by name. Your world shrinks and your interactions become rigid and fearful. Let's be clear about the differences here. In a healthy relationship, there is a foundation of trust. Both partners feel secure and aren't threatened by outside interactions, because when you have a foundation of trust, you only expect your partner to do what you are willing to do in the exact same situation. So unless you're a hoe, you don't expect your partner to be one. Unless you're a cheater at heart, you don't expect your partner to be one. Unless you are deceitful at heart, you don't expect your partner to be deceitful at heart. Mutual trust, which is maintained from advancing trust and confidence in your partner, and then that trust and confidence is reinforced by them performing the way you expected them to perform, which is exactly the way you would have performed in the exact same scenario. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. If you do feel a pang of insecurity, they can communicate it by saying, I felt a little insecure when I saw you talking with your ex. That's valid. Can we talk about it? Of course. This opens a dialogue. Controlling jealousy doesn't want dialogue. It wants to impose restrictions. Ultimately, this kind of passive jealousy isn't about love. It's about a profound lack of trust and deep insecurity, where she isn't trying to manage her own fear by controlling your life. She sees you not as an independent partner to be trusted, but as a possession to be guarded. Now, this is not the stuff of epic romance. It's the stuff of disrespect. Love empowers and trusts. Control restricts and suspects. The eighth one, and we've got a couple more because we were doing 8 out of 10. The eighth one is financial control. It's a tactic often disguised as responsible money management, or one partner simply being better with it. Its true purpose, however, is to limit your independence and create dependency, making it harder for you to leave. This can show up in several ways. In a milder form, she insists on managing all the finances, arguing she's more organized or it's just easier. She might give you an allowance or require you to ask her for money for everyday things, while presenting as practical, it's fundamentally shifting the power dynamic where you no longer are equal partners. You are a dependent who has to ask for funds. Another tactic is excessive scrutiny of your spending. She might demand to see all your receipts, questioning every purchase. A coffee with a friend leads to a lecture about wasting money. Buying a new shirt triggers a comment about being irresponsible. This creates a sense of financial surveillance, making you feel guilty for spending every dollar that you own. This is your money that you've earned. You start hiding small purchases to avoid a fight. This isn't about a budget, it's about making you feel powerless. In more overt forms, a controlling partner might actively interfere with your ability to earn money, where she might discourage you from seeking a promotion, saying things like, but that job would have longer hours, we'd never see each other, or are you sure you can handle that much pressure? I'm worried it would be too stressful for you. In some cases, she might even sabotage your work by starting arguments before important meetings. The goal is to limit your earning potential, increasing your financial reliance on her. You can also see these situations where your partner might start an argument with you on your way to work, which causes you to defend your relationship instead of getting to work on time. And now you're making frequent late trips to the job where something happened at the house that stopped you from showing up for work on time. This lack of reliance from your employer will sabotage your employment, where better scheduling, promotions, raises would be sacrificed due to your lack of consistency with on-time employment. Same thing, arguments where she's arguing with you while you're at work. You're distracted from your job. Now your performance is depreciating. Same thing. If she's threatening to do something at the house, now you got to leave from work early. This makes you an unreliable employee, which jeopardizes your otherwise solid employment. You have to avoid these things. And this is serious. Studies suggest that financial abuse is a factor in as many as 94 to 99% of domestic violence cases. And it is one of the most powerful ways to keep someone trapped in an abusive relationship, as worries about being able to provide for oneself are a top reason people stay. So being too afraid to do this alone is the reason why you would stay in an unhealthy relationship. Never do that. But that's one of the reasons why some of the women that are victims of this type of treatment have escape funds, because if they're being micromanaged by their partner and they take them whatever they get from their partner and put it into an account where that their partner doesn't know about, their partner thinks the money is being spent when it's being stored. Then when she has enough money, she can leave, and she knows that she has a safety net that will support her until she can get back on her feet. That's what those escape funds are for. But if you're in a healthy relationship, you should not need an escape fund. And if you develop a trust with your partner, not the word trust, an actual financial trust that makes both of you equal beneficiaries of the trust, you're going to be getting a regular paycheck from the trust. So if you left the relationship, you're grandfathered into a guaranteed paycheck from the relationship. Your relationship is paying you alimony because you're a beneficiary of the trust, where it should be written in stone that no beneficiaries are removed off of the trust unless they die. Financial security. A healthy financial partnership is built on transparency and teamwork, but it's reasonable transparency, because it's transparency that has no judgment, no resentment, no retaliation. Okay? Healthy couples make big financial decisions together because you're excited to include your partner on this major change that is supposed to improve your relationship together. Even if one person manages the day-to-day bills for convenience, both partners have full access to information and the accounts. Your partner should be your biggest cheerleader when it comes to your career, supporting your ambitions. So when one partner uses money to exert power, it is a form of abuse. It's a calculated strategy to undermine your autonomy. If you feel like you have to ask permission to use your own money, your ability to earn is being hindered, and you are not in a partnership. You are in a controlling financial relationship that is deeply disrespectful to you. The ninth one, and we've got this one and one more to talk about. The ninth one is the sign of controlling your personal appearance, because your clothes, your hairstyle, and your weight all are who you are. And under the guise of wanting you to look your best, this is a deeply personal form of control that treats you and your body as a reflection of your partner rather than an expression of who you are. Like other forms of control, it starts with seemingly innocent suggestions like, you know, that beard makes you look older. I know. I've been wearing a beard since I was 14 so that I could look older. On the months out of the year, like No Shave November, when I want to look 20 years younger, I'll shave it all off. But the rest of the year, no, I won't. She might follow up with that by saying, I think you look so much more handsome, clean shaven. I don't care because I don't like to shave. Or she might tell you something like, that t-shirt is getting a little worn out. Why don't you wear the nice shirt that I bought you? Because that's not what I want to wear. These comments are present and they're presented as helpful advice from a loving partner. However, these suggestions soon escalate into demands. They become more frequent and more critical. She might start vetting your outfits before you leave the house, telling you to change because what you're wearing is inappropriate. She might throw out clothes she doesn't like without your permission, and she might make passive-aggressive comments about your weight disguised as concerns for your health. I'm just worried about you. Maybe we should start going to the gym together, when you haven't expressed any desire to go to a gym. This creates a dynamic where you start to see yourself through her critical lenses, and you stop wearing your favorite shirt because you know she'll make a comment. You hesitate before getting a haircut, wondering if she'll approve of it. The simple act of getting dressed becomes a source of anxiety because you're essentially letting another person dictate how you present yourself to the world. This is a profound violation of personal autonomy. Now, I know ladies are going to say, oh, but men do this too. A man is going to tell you not to dress like a whore because you're not supposed to be perceived as one. A man is going to tell you not to wear scantily clad outfits because he does not want you to be drooled over by other men. A man is going to tell you to not wear overly exposing clothes because you are supposed to maintain a level of purity and modesty, at least as an observation, even if it is not your inherent factual behavior process. Maintaining your integrity, your dignity, is a man's job. And if you decided to look cute, which is overly sexualizing yourself, and you are currently no longer representing dignity and modesty, a man is supposed to come and tell you, hey, you're kind of slipping away from the goal of keeping you as a pure princess kind of look or behavior pattern. Kind of slide back over into that scenario. That's a whole lot different from changing your man from a three-piece suit to a throwback jersey and some sweatpants because you like them looking like that. Huge difference. Your style is, in fact, an expression of yourself, but your style is supposed to be an expression of your best self. So in a healthy relationship, your partner accepts you for who you are, and they may have preferences. And it's okay to say, I really love it when you wear that blue shirt, but there is a Grand Canyon-sized difference between a compliment and a command. A supportive partner respects your choices and your body. They don't treat you like a doll to be dressed up according to their tastes. Underlining message here is one of ownership. When she tries to control your appearance, she's saying your look reflects on her. And in situationally, it kind of does, but not the way she's making it seem. So because she's saying that she has the right to manage how you look, because how you look reflects on her. How you look does reflect on her, the same way how she looks does reflect on you. But it's supposed to be her conscious choice to dress appropriately to complement your attire, not your ability to control what she wears to satisfy your personal desire. Vice versa, you're supposed to wear, as a man, she's supposed to be wearing outfits to complement your attire, and you're not supposed to be trying to control what she's wearing just to satisfy your personal desire. So both partners are supposed to be looking at what their partner is wearing and matching that to some degree. When y'all go shopping together, y'all should be buying future clothes that resembles the coupleness in your own individual styles. Y'all don't have to have matching outfits. But if you are a suit and tie kind of person, she should be able to match that with some dress casual. If she is a more casual style person, you should be able to match that with more of a dress casual and less strictly professional attire, complementing each other. Y'all should look like y'all belong together, not that one of you deserves better. That's how your attire should complement each other. Okay. But in these situations where she's treating your body as something she's entitled to curate, that's a problem. This isn't about helping you look good. It's about shaping you into her idol accessory. And this isn't a form of love. It's a deeply disrespectful attempt to control the most personal thing that you have, which is yourself. The last one, number 10, is the gaslighting. Distorting your reality to maintain power. This 10th and final sign of gaslighting, this is the most perhaps psychologically damaging form of manipulation, because gaslighting is a tactic where a person deliberately makes you question your own memory, perception, and even your sanity to maintain control and avoid accountability. The term comes from the 1994 film Gaslight, where a husband systematically manipulates his wife into believing she's going insane. In a relationship, this takes a form of denying reality. For example, you might confront her about something hurtful she said. A gaslighter will respond with complete denial. I never said that. You're making that up. Or that's not how it happened at all. You're remembering it wrong. She'll say it with such conviction that you begin to doubt yourself. Did I remember that correctly? Maybe I am wrong. Another common gaslighting technique is to attack your emotional state instead of the issue, the same way we were experiencing from Jay earlier in the show. If you express that her actions hurt you, she might say you're being way too sensitive, or you always overreact. It was just a joke. They should never make a joke that hurts your feelings. If they say something to you, it is not supposed to target something that they know is a problem for you, a trigger of yours. So if you're secure about your body, they shouldn't be making fat jokes. If you're insecure about the graying of your hair, they shouldn't be making gray hair jokes. If you're concerned about how your body is aging, they shouldn't be making old person jokes, because that dances on your insecurities. Your partner is supposed to observe your insecurities and replace that insecurity with their being your strength. I was told growing up that your partner is always supposed to stand on your weak side. Yeah, I never thought about that, right? So if I was weak in my left, My partner is always supposed to be on my left. That way, nothing that happens to us cannot be handled with the strongest side of us, because nothing comes in between the two of us. So she protects my weak side and I protect her weak side, right? So she's not supposed to know that my weak side is the left side, and that she attacks my weak side. That's not how it's supposed to go. This tactic invalidates your feelings. The problem is no longer her behavior. It is your flawed emotional response. So over time, you learn to stop trusting your own emotional reactions, believing that you are, in fact, too sensitive. Gaslighting is also used to deflect blame. A controlling person will rarely, if ever, take responsibility. So, as we talked over an hour ago, when they're saying that women are always right, even when they're wrong, not in a healthy relationship. In a healthy relationship, she recognizes when she's wrong. She recognizes when you're right. She recognizes when she should shut up and start following instructions. Because in a healthy relationship, if you were the person that was wrong as a man, if you were the person that recognizes that you need to shut up and follow the instructions, then as a man, you would shut up and start following instructions. Universally, this behavior goes both ways. But if she's making a mistake that hurts you, she'll find a way to twist the story to make it your fault. If she's late picking you up, it's because you didn't remind her. If she spends too much money, it's because you put too much pressure on her. You find yourself apologizing for things that weren't your fault just to end the crazy circular argument. The goal of gaslighting is to erode your trust in yourself. A controlling person wants to dismantle your sense of reality so you become dependent on their version of events. If you can't trust your own memory or your own feelings, you have no choice but to trust theirs. It creates a profound confusion, anxiety, and powerlessness. It makes you feel like you're going crazy, which is exactly the point. A healthy relationship is grounded in a shared reality, built on honesty and trust. Partners can have different perspectives, but they do not deny each other's reality. They validate each other's feelings even when they don't understand them and even when they don't agree with them. They say things like, I didn't realize that would hurt you. And I'm sorry, not. You have no right to be hurt by that. No one should ever tell you that. If you constantly feel confused, second guessing your own mind, and wondering if you're the one who is crazy, you are likely being gaslit. This is not a communication problem. It's a deliberate form of psychological abuse. And that is the ultimate act of disrespect designed to shatter your reality so that she can control it. And we've just walked through 10 of the most common signs of controlling relationships, 10 ways disrespect can be expertly disguised as love. We've talked about isolation disguised as devotion, surveillance and safety, criticism as involvement, passiveness as passion. We've uncovered how financial control can be framed as prudence, how guilt can be created as obligation, and how gaslighting can shatter your sense of reality. Now, if you have found yourself nodding along, feeling that uncomfortable recognition, this is something that's occurring in your gut right now. I want you guys to hear this loud and clear. You are not overreacting. You are not being sensitive, and you are not crazy. That feeling in your gut that something is fundamentally wrong is your intuition screaming at you to pay attention. It is telling you that you're being disrespected. Ladies, this works for you as well. If you're recognizing these patterns, this is the first, most critical step towards reclaiming your freedom and yourself. A healthy relationship is built around mutual trust, respect, and support for each other's autonomy. Love is built up, and it's supposed to build you up. It is not supposed to break down, and it is not supposed to break you down. It should feel like a safe harbor, not a minefield, not an interrogation room, not the first 48, not like a CIA black site. It should empower you to be more of who you are, not less of who you were. If you're in this situation, please know that help is available. Talk to a trusted friend or family member who is outside of the relationship. You can go to a therapist that's a neutral party that will not speak of this to anyone else. You can go to if you're going to go to a pastor in a church or a priest or some sort, go to one that is not in your neighborhood, that doesn't know your community. Go to a completely different congregation. That way you have a non-biased party that has no reason to regurgitate the information about you to anyone else. One of the very people that she may have tried to isolate from you is one of the people that you would benefit from getting recovery support through. So seek out professional therapists or counselors with experience in controlling and abusive dynamics. They can give you the tools and support that you need to navigate this safely. Making a change is never easy, but you deserve a relationship where you are valued, respected, and free to be yourself. You deserve a partner, not a prison. So you got to trust yourself. Take the first steps in making these changes today. Now, what I'm going to tell you is that before you start running out of your relationship with both hands above your head, if you're going to try to make the necessary changes in your relationship to get your partner to improve their behavior, this is going to require communication. This is going to require proactive negotiations. But it is also going to require you to set a timeline for change, because your partner is not going to say, yes, dear, yes, dear, yes, dear, and never put any effort to change. When you recognize that this relationship is not going the way you would like it to go, whether you're a male or a female in this relationship, then you are recognizing that the relationship is officially on academic probation. This is the performance contract. If I do not start seeing a change in your behavior towards me over this period of time, whether it's a month, 2 months, 3 months, I will remove myself from this relationship. Remember, I told you over an hour ago, if I'm not talking to you about leaving, you got nothing to worry about. I should be able to give you advance notice that I am completely unsatisfied with the current relationship that we are in. And I would like to rectify this before deciding to leave. Notice, that's the first time I'm telling you I'm thinking about getting out. You don't want that. You will put forth the effort to improve. I'm going to put forth the effort to improve as well, because I know that if I have dissatisfactions, you have dissatisfactions, because I can't find fault in you if there isn't fault in me. So there's got to be something that I'm not doing that you're not satisfied with. So I want to find out what that is. I'm going to put forth effort to improve that. If it's reasonable, you're going to find out what my problems are, and my problems should be reasonable in order for you to rectify them. And in this conversation, if we agree to make changes in our behavior so that we are both satisfied with the relationship going forward, where we're going to check on it every few weeks, every month, to make sure that we are meeting the needs of the other person, as I've told you on plenty of other shows, then and only then will you be able to say we are improving the relationship. But if at any point in time, one of us decides, I don't want to do that, that's unrealistic. Okay, well, if my needs are not being met in this relationship, then I gotta go. I've got to take myself out of this because this isn't healthy for me. It's not about forcing change. And you're not using abandoning the relationship as a crutch to manipulate them into doing the things that you want, where whenever you want something to change in a relationship, you start talking about leaving. That's not healthy either. Only when you have already been discussing with your partner for weeks, for months, sometimes even for years, that you're looking for an improvement in the relationship and you're not seeing that change. When you are tired of asking for improvement, that is the moment where you say, look, if this doesn't start getting better, I am going to go. Because I have been asking for this improvement for this many months. That would be the same conversation that you would have with your employer. I have been asking for improvement from you for this many months. And if you don't start improving in this many months, I'm going to have to let you go. Yeah, relationships are based on emotion, but relationships are also transactional. And like a business, if you've already given 6 months for improvement and now you're on academic probation and you're giving them 3 more months to improve, that is 9 months out of 12 that you have been dissatisfied. That's enough to say, look, if this doesn't change, I'm not starting next year living like this. See what I'm saying? If you spent the first half of 2025 in an unsatisfactory relationship, your partner's got till Christmas to get this shit right, because if not, come New Year, you're going to be in a new relationship, or at least out of the old one. That's the way that works. So if you've been in this type of relationship for 2, 3, 5 years, you understand your partner is not going to change. No matter what you've said, they are not respecting your position. That is when you understand that it is time for you to go. When you are the only person unhappy in the relationship and both of you know about that and the other person doesn't care, that's when it is time for you to go. I understand that we all want that 40, 50-year marriage, but that 40 or 50-year marriage only comes from a relationship where both parties are willing to compromise and negotiate. If you are in a relationship where no matter how flexible you are, your partner will force you to bend even further until you break, it is time to go. With that being said, I appreciate y'all coming to tonight's show. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. If you're watching us from Twitter or Twitch, make sure that you follow the channel, like the show. Ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking ladies to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. And fellas, 70% of this podcast is male-driven podcast from the male's perspective. We do not let the sun rise without going live, and we give you guys information to improve yourselves every night of the week. We talk about money Monday through Wednesday, and we talk about personal improvement Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and Sunday is our members only shows that are open to the public right now with questions and comments from the fans. I give you this information to aid you guys in being higher value men by improving your financial position and growing your own wealth so that you can be self-sustainable while also improving your decision-making skills and improving your emotional intelligence so that you can be more effective in your personal life, because your personal life can negatively impact your money and your money can negatively impact your personal life. By improving your ability to function in both areas, I aid you in your ability to improve your entire way of life. You can become a higher value man if you're not already. You can sharpen your value as a man by sharpening your skills in your financial life and sharpening your skills in your relationship, personal life. But ladies, this information isn't exclusive to men because this dynamic works both ways. So you ladies can take this information and you can improve yourselves as well. You can improve your financial life, and we're talking about business and finance, and you guys can improve your personal life, improving your decision-making skills, making yourselves higher value women. If you find a guy with the same mental structure as you do, y'all don't have to be the same person. They just have a driven goal to succeed financially. They have a driven goal to cooperate and compromise the same way you do. Y'all can come together. And I've told you guys this plenty of times before, that two $50,000 a year incomes can live a $45,000 to $50,000 a year lifestyle and be millionaires inside of 10 years. The next 10, 20, 30 years would be a fantastic life of luxury if you're walking away with 15 to 18% interest off of $1 million every year, where you guys are making $150,000 a year off of your interest, off of your investments, where you were originally living off of a $50,000 a year lifestyle. Y'all could upgrade in 11 years and live a $75,000 a year lifestyle, making $120,000 a year worth of profit, which still would give you $60,000 a year to go out and spend, enjoying the pleasures of life and never going broke and not having to work anymore. There are ways. But now, for those of you that are working in New York and the Bronx, California, and other such, where $250,000 a year might be more your alley, 20-year relationship, you'd have $2 million. Actually, 15-year relationship, you'd have $2 million if you guys are investing in each other wisely. Which also means that if you got $2 million at 15 to 18%, you got $300,000. So if you couldn't do it at $150,000, you can definitely do it with $300,000. And if you can't do that in America, if you got $300,000 a year coming to you, you can definitely do that in some of those countries where $12,000 a year or $24,000 a year would be upper middle class lifestyle. If you got $300,000 a year in that type of society, Japan, you can make it under $10,000 a year. If you're living that kind of lifestyle where you've got $250,000 a year or more that you can spend on your standard of living, you are upper class standard of living when you're bringing $250,000 a year to the eastern side of the world. Which means that you can get into a relationship in America, build your wealth for 15 years, move overseas and retire, and spend the rest of your life living it up. But that requires you guys to be working together as a team. So, with that being said, I want to thank you guys for coming to tonight's show. I want you guys to look forward to tomorrow night's show. Hit that notification button for Saturdays. Well, we got shows all the way through Tuesday. We got to put up Wednesday and Thursday, but we got shows all the way through Tuesday. Make sure that you guys hit the like and subscribe button on those, hit the notification button on those, so that you get that update when we decide to go live. With that being said, I want to tell you guys one more time, thank you for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I'm going to see you guys tomorrow night.
Chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. Potential knows no bounds. Network.